Welcome to Direct Supply's Continuing Education webinar series. Direct Supply offers monthly webinars on a variety of topics throughout the year. Today's webinar is brought to you by our Dining Executive Council. The topic for today is Equipment Trends in Senior Living. My name is Natalie Ohlers, and I will be facilitating today's meeting. After the webinar, we will be joined by Tina Burns, Direct Supply's product consultant for our food service category. She will discuss some products mentioned in today's webinar, so be sure to stay on the line after the Q&A. Disclaimer, please note the information contained in this presentation is intended to provide general information, but not advice about certain regulations and initiatives. This is not intended as legal or other advice, and each situation may vary depending on the particular facts and circumstances. You should not act upon this information without first consulting with qualified legal counsel. Today we are joined by Jan Crain, Senior Food Service Design Consultant for Direct Supply Aptura, and Shellee Roloff, our Food Service Category Manager at Direct Supply. Jan joined Direct Supply in 2006 as a Senior Food Service Design Consultant. Jan is responsible for leading the food service design and equipment specification for new development and renovation projects. Prior to joining Direct Supply's Aptura Food Service Design Team, Jan held a position in interior design at Direct Supply, and before that, practiced clinical dietetics. Shellee has been instrumental in developing programs that help solve industry challenges, such as improving resident satisfaction and meeting regulations. Not only is Shellee a customer consultant, but she's also a certified food service professional as well. And now please welcome Jan and Shellee.
Thank you, Natalie. Before we get started, I'd just like to take a moment to share a little background on the Dining Executive Council. This is a newer organization that Direct Supply is leading with the direction and support from our board. Our board is made up of food service leaders from some of the largest senior living providers. As you can see on the slide, our vision for this organization is to advance the food and nutrition experience in senior living through education, best practice sharing, and networking. Specifically, we're offering education through webinars such as this, our newsletter, which you may have seen recently, and we also share outputs from our annual meeting. The membership of this organization is primarily corporate-level food service professionals. We're very excited to announce our next annual meeting, which will be on July 31st through August 2nd of next year, and it will be hosted here at Direct Supply. Again, just a reminder, this conference is targeting the corporate-level food service professionals. Now we'll jump into our presentation for today on design trends in equipment and design. Throughout the presentation, Jan will be presenting on large-scale design trends that we see in new construction, and then I'll be focused on more the smaller scale changes that allow you to incorporate the trends into your existing dining programs. Jan Crain, our Senior Food Service Design Consultant, will start us off.
Thank you, Shellee. This is indeed a very exciting time to be involved with the rejuvenation of dining programs in senior living. Senior living corporations have much to gain from revamping their dining programs because dining drives senior living business. For residents, the movement toward choice in dining venues, extended dining hours, and fresh, healthy, creative menu offerings promote resident satisfaction and improved health outcomes. For the developers and operators, dining programs support marketing initiatives, brand recognition, and increased occupancy. So where do the new dining trends originate? We look to the hospitality industry for innovative dining and service solutions. I personally enjoy attending the annual Hospitality Design Expo in Las Vegas to learn how hoteliers and restaurateurs are keeping their clients delighted, comfortable, and coming back for more. Then I think about whether any of these latest trends will translate and scale to the senior living industry. On this slide, you see a nice example of a very popular trend that started within the hotel industry, and that is offering a variety of dining venues with their own menu and personality. These three images are from the Wellbrook of Carmel, a 70-bed short-term rehab and 30-bed assisted living community located within the heart of an artist community in Carmel, Indiana. Dining amenities include a pub that leads into the main dining room, and you can see that pub in the center image. A nod to the artists in the community with the Andy Warhol CAFÉ on the left image, and a serving kitchen and pub on the second floor as a dining option for the assisted living residents. As you saw in the previous slide, cafes are in demand as secondary casual dining venues for CCRCs, independent living, assisted living, and short-term rehabilitation projects. In new development designs, we've been strategically locating the cafe near the reception and the lobby area so it becomes a focal point on the marketing tour. This adjacency also makes it convenient for the receptionist to staff the cafe during slower service hours, allowing members of the culinary team to return to the kitchen. We're seeing cafes being enjoyed by residents, staff members, and visitors alike to purchase light meals, snacks, and beverage service. This amenity is a great way to offer extended dining hours and extended menu options beyond the service offered in the main dining room. Typical cafe menu items may include continental breakfast, soups, sandwiches, and salads to order, or pre-made in the kitchen and packaged as ready-to-go items. The addition of a rapid cook oven, like you see used at Starbucks or Subway, can increase sales and hot menu options by providing fast, ventless or hoodless cooking for hot pastries, breakfast sandwiches, pizzas, panini sandwiches, pasta dishes, and other hot entrees. If you're not familiar with rapid cook ovens, Tina will be talking about them in more detail later in the presentation. The top image on this slide is of the cafe at the Springs of Lafayette, another 90-bed short-term rehab and assisted living community in Indiana. I worked closely with the architect, the client, and the interior designer to integrate the required food service equipment into their overall design concept for the space, creating an operationally efficient cafe with a style that aligns well with the rest of the building. So, what motivates people to visit the cafe to buy a meal or a snack? Enticing aromas and beautiful food that's been freshly prepared and nicely presented draws people in every time. Fast, friendly service keeps them coming back for more. From an equipment standpoint, the key to a very successful retail outlet really is the merchandising equipment that displays delicious menu offerings and holds them at appropriate temperatures prior to sales. The equipment lineup for this cafe is a dual temp merchandiser that's sitting front and center on the front counter. In the dual temp merchandiser, it's ambient temperature for bakery products on one side and refrigerated on the other side for pre-made sandwiches, salads, bottled or canned beverages, and desserts. One thing I would like you to notice is that this particular merchandiser is a full-service case versus a grab-and-go case. Some of our operators that have installed grab-and-go cases report losses due to too much grabbing and going without paying. On the back counter, you can see the rapid cook oven. Next to that is a soup tureen for hot soups, but it could also be oatmeal for breakfast and hot fudge topping for the ice cream sundaes later. Also dropped into the cabinet is an ice cream dipping cabinet and a dipper well, and that's right on the front counter behind the breath protector. We also have beverage equipment sitting on the side counter as well. Under-counter refrigeration is hidden under the front counter where you can't see it, but it's nice and handy for the operators to pull pre-made items and fresh ingredients out. Specialty beverage equipment has become a must-have in the cafes. I use the word specialty because if you're going to sell coffee in your cafe, it needs to be of a higher quality and different than the coffee provided for free in the dining room. This cafe also highlights plenty of open counter space, so it allows for creative countertop displays for fresh fruit and prepackaged snacks. Oftentimes, our designs include menu boards that could be chalkboards that are part of the cabinetry or electronic menu boards, as well as menu boards that sit right on top of the counter. Another element of good cafe design is to have comfortable tables and chairs located conveniently near the cafe, and you can see that in this image over on the left. And of course, certainly last but not least, you must have the hand sink and breath protectors for good sanitation. Last month, I was fortunate enough to visit one of our clients with a cafe that's very similar to this one, with same equipment package, similar style. And they report a hoppin' business throughout the day with profits of $4,000 to $6,000 per month. And those profits go right back into the facility, whether they use them to hire additional part-time staff or they use them to increase the quality of their food products or their menu offerings. They're staffing this cafe with members from their culinary team during peak hours and their receptionist staffs during the slower times of the day. They are using their rapid cook oven heavily as they produce paninis to order, and they also use it to turn leftovers from the dining room into the chef's special of the day. Next up, Shellee's going to present some great ideas for creating a cafe in existing communities.
You can create smaller snack service with just the use of a few carts. As you can see here, they're added to the common area space or the reception area. And this is a variety of attractive trays and accessories. They really help dress up your service station. The top photo shows air pots with a lever. And I feel like those are easier to push, easier for the residents versus the flat push button. And I believe those are on the bottom. Another feature of the air pot on the photo is the sight, which is on the air pot on the left. And that sight allows you to see when the coffee is running low. The location of these stations is an important consideration. As Jan mentioned, a best practice is to locate your hospitality station near an area that is staffed, such as the reception area, so that they can keep an eye on it and not only make sure that the snacks aren't overtaken, but also to make sure that the residents are able to, if they need assistance, they're able to help, and also to make sure it's stocked. The image in the lower right features a hospitality station that is in an assisted living and memory care building in Texas. As you can see, it's located in the reception area, and this is a great way for them to greet their guests and boost the marketability of the building. Here's another great example of a smaller cafe that is created simply with a few pieces of small equipment and minimal furniture. The cabinet offers space for a pastry cabinet that can be filled with breads and bagels. The toaster is a nice addition because toast is very aromatic, and that mouth-watering aroma will waft down the hallway, encouraging residents to come out for a snack. Fruit and other cafe items are on the shelves. Also, note how the decor plays a big part in creating that look and feel of your cafe. You see the artwork with the oversized utensils, the menu board that Jan referenced, and the jars are filled with grains. All of this really adds to that cafe experience. Now I'll turn it back over to Jan to talk about bars and pubs.
Pubs, bars, taverns, cocktail lounges, and yes, even man caves have become much sought-after destinations in CCRC's independent living and even assisted living communities. They make great pre-event and pre-dining venues where residents and friends gather to share stories over a glass of wine or soft drinks and appetizers. The images on the screen are of the dining room and bar at Elan of West Point, located in New Braunfels, Texas. In this 90 to 100 bed assisted living and memory care community, the bar is conveniently located between the dining room and their event space over on the right. The design features a back display wall lit with natural light from the adjacent outdoor beer garden and a low front counter for safe seating for seniors. Bar equipment can be as sophisticated or as simple as the budget and beverage menu dictate. Some of our clients serve beer and wine, while others add mixed drinks to the menu. Many of the bars that we design include under-counter refrigeration, often with glass doors to merchandise canned and bottled beverages, beer dispensers and kegerators, which add to the decor, wine chillers and wine displays, liquor lockers for residents to store their personal liquor stash, glass washers, ice bins, and a variety of barware. So, are bars just for late afternoon cocktails, or would you rather see them energized and busy throughout the day? If you look to the hospitality model, where flexible spaces are in high demand, the bar area is used throughout the day, beginning with breakfast in the morning. At one of the communities that I participated in the design for, we visited a few weeks ago, and the chef reported that he has a handful of gentlemen that prefer to sit at the bar in the morning to eat their breakfast while they read the paper, or watch the news on TV. Other communities serve up healthy smoothies at the bar as a special treat. At this time, Shellee will present additional ideas for creating pub settings in senior living communities.
In your existing space, you can incorporate portable bars and even game tables to create that pub atmosphere, which encourages socialization and resident engagement. These bars can be as high-end as the furniture-looking piece shown here, or they can be as economical as a dressed-up table or a cart. There are also a number of poly versions that are on the market, which are fairly cost-effective. Although they're not as attractive as the wood, they do have these sleek designs, which you'll see on the screen here. They're portable, just as the wood version, so you can move them throughout the building and even to the patio outside. Also, I like the fact that they offer space on the back side to organize all of your accessories. You'll find that most bars on the market do have this space, and they'll have room for your dish rack, ice, cutting boards, and drawers. And they also have space for the containers you can see, and they'll hold all of your beverages and mixers. So although there is still some cost to this versus just a standard cart or table, it really helps to make your beverage service easy with all the accessories. Next, Jan will share a flexible space concept that we call day-to-night bistros.
Thank you, Shellee. People often ask me what the difference is between a cafe and a bistro. And really, they're synonymous, both being defined as a small restaurant serving simple meals in a casual setting for a modest price. In my projects, I choose to identify the bistro concept as a small restaurant that transitions seamlessly from breakfast to lunch to happy hour to dessert after dinner. It's essentially a marriage of the coffee shop, the bar, and the ice cream parlor to create one lively, socially engaging dining venue that's open for business most of the day. The bistro in this image is the crown jewel at Harbor Chase of Shorewood in Shorewood, Wisconsin. This community includes 40 memory care residents and 7 assisted living residents. The building is located on a tight urban site, so interior space was very limited. The interior designer and I had to put our heads together to figure out how best to accommodate a coffee shop and a cocktail lounge, as these were both desired amenities by our client. The result of our collaboration was to bring the two functions together into one venue where equipment and staff could be shared. We used the back wall display and dimmable lighting as our means to visibly transform the room from coffee shop to bar as the day progresses. In the image on the screen, you can see the shelving and louvered doors on the back wall. During the morning and early afternoon, the doors are closed on the right, exposing coffee mugs and other coffee paraphernalia on the left. As it gets closer to 4 o'clock, one of the residents actually comes in, she dims the lights, and she slides the door to the left to expose the wine and bar display, announcing that happy hour has begun. Other design features for this particular bistro include multiple counter heights that waterfall from one to the next. The counter on the right is a 42-inch high counter for bar seating. On the front of the bistro counter, the seating is lower for additional bar seating at a height that many seniors may find to be more comfortable. As you move along the front counter, you see a refrigerated merchandiser that's built right into the front of the counter for a streamlined, clean look. Additionally, the counters have been left free of equipment to provide the operator with flexibility for additional merchandising and display or future buffet opportunities. The equipment in this particular bistro include, if we move along the back wall, a hand sink and a utility sink. On the back counter, there's a tall heated merchandiser. I call that the pretzel warmer. Could be warm cookies or warm pastries. There's a drop-in ice cream dipping cabinet and a dipper well that are very hard to see, and that was the point, is to keep them out of sight but convenient. There's also a drop-in ice bin and a water station on that back counter. Under-counter refrigeration on the back wall was covered with a wood grain laminate, so it blends in with the cabinetry. And then we come around to the bar side, and there's the kegerator, which also stores not only a pony keg, but it also stores glass and bottled beverages. And then additional under-counter refrigeration hidden under the front counter. As you can see, much of this equipment in the bistro is either under the counter or dropped in for a very clean, uncluttered appearance. So, how do residents define the word bistro? They might say it's a comfortable place to drink coffee until it's time to drink beer and wine. Shellee has some additional ways to achieve the day-to-night bistro concept with some innovative equipment solutions.
Yeah, even if you only have 150 or 200 square feet, you can create a small bistro that can be utilized throughout the day, very similar to what Jan was discussing. In fact, this would be a great concept for a rehab space. In addition to needing the space, though, for this type of mini bistro, it's also important to consider the power and the utility requirements when determining the ideal location. In fact, a good chunk of your cost for a project such as this will be in the renovation and in the utility updates. When designing these spaces, also think about flexibility in terms of the equipment and finishes. For example, the signage can flip around and represent breakfast in the morning and the social hour in the afternoon. In this picture, you can see that there's a hot top in the front that can hold anything from pizza to breakfast sandwiches. And this particular image shows only a sneeze guard. However, a glass front is something you might want to consider to eliminate the risk of resident burns. When it comes to other display equipment, as we mentioned earlier, the grab-and-go stations, they can be converted to staff service cases for that snack and the refrigerated product. Here's another great example of an even smaller bistro that can fit into almost any space. It also has some of those flexible features that we're talking about. We actually featured this card at the Dining Executive Conference this past summer, and we received very positive feedback. Similar to the other bistro examples, you can use it throughout the day. So you see the happy hour, or actually this is the coffee signs that you see there. But again, those signs will flip around, and then you can market your cocktail hour as well. This unit includes a single-point electrical outlet, so it can accommodate small appliances, coffee equipment. Think about the toasters you might need for breakfast, and blenders are great for either smoothies in the morning, afternoon, or even some of those fluffy cocktail drinks. Our next trend that Jan will be discussing is the marketplace.
The marketplace is my favorite of all the hot new trends because it has so much potential. This is where the country store meets the coffee culture to create a dynamic retail-style outlet for CCRCs, independent living, assisted living, and short-term rehab communities. Features of the marketplace include all the same amenities as the CAFÉ, and then on top of that, we add the retail component for sales of small grocery items that residents can take back to their apartments to prepare a simple meal. It saves a trip to the grocery store while promoting independence, as well as adding another layer of choice about what, when, and where to eat. This could also be a great location to distribute pre-ordered takeout meals for employees as they wrap up their busy workday and head for a busy evening at home with their families. The same concept works just as well for visitors needing a family meal to go after they stop in for a visit after work. The image on your screen is a rendering of the future marketplace at Adora Midtown Park in Dallas, Texas. Construction is just beginning for this 76-bed short-term rehab facility that's paired with a 29-bed assisted living community. On the right side of the marketplace, you see the CAFÉ component where residents, employees, and visitors can purchase light meals and snacks. They can dine in the marketplace dining room, or they can take their meal to go to their apartment, room, or even enjoy it outside on the patio. On the left side of the image, you see the display shelves that we've added as retail cabinetry. They have locked storage below to secure extra inventory, and then the display shelves above are open when the market is open, and they can be closed and locked and secured during off hours. We use pocket doors on those display shelves with glass or mesh inserts to provide window shopping opportunities even when the shop is closed for business. In the retail component on the back wall, you can see 2 refrigerated merchandisers that were built into the cabinetry. These were added to showcase small grocery items that are for sale. The units are scaled to a smaller size to align with the size of this particular community. A large CCRC may need a full-size refrigerator and a full-size freezer merchandiser to meet the demands of a larger population. Other equipment shown here, very similar to the CAFÉ. Again, you've got the lighted refrigerated display case on the front counter. which really highlights bright, colorful food and it draws the eye in. A heated display case for warm pastries, pizza slices, or hot sandwiches is on the front counter. Again, a soup tureen for the soup of the day. And in this one, you can't see it, it's right off the picture, but we've got floor baskets, very similar to what you see at Starbucks, for merchandising snacks, fresh fruit, or it could even be used for the sale of fresh produce from your community garden. This particular marketplace is located right next to the kitchen, so their plan is to call in orders for hot sandwiches or hot menu items to be prepared in the kitchen right at the cook line. In other more remote marketplaces, I would include a rapid cook oven to increase the offering for hot sandwiches, hot pasta dishes, and hot sides without the use of a hood. As for beverage equipment in the marketplace, we see coffee and tea brewers are very common along with soda dispensers. In looking at this image, you probably noticed the Starbucks logo perched on a shelf on the back wall. We're recently seeing a number of our clients turning to branded solutions like Starbucks to attract business and increase sales at their venues. I think it's still early in the game to know if this is a profitable route to take for senior communities, but I think it's certainly worth exploring. The next trend I'd like to present brings the chef front and center in the dining room. Exhibition and display kitchens have become very popular among restaurateurs as a means of enhancing the dining experience with foodie-style entertainment. It's very much dinner in a theater. I think this is a trend that just makes good sense for senior living dining venues, whether on a grand or a small scale. It gives diners events to look forward to, and it certainly sparks lively conversation. The image on the top is of Chef Scott in the exhibition kitchen at Harbor Chase of Shorewood. He uses their rather grand-style exhibition kitchen for 3 meals a day and for some production work in between meals. The stone hearth oven on the back wall is truly the focal point for this dining room. It creates beautiful, warm appearance that makes the dining room absolutely glow. The oven is used early in the morning as it's heating up to bake homemade pita breads and pizza crusts in preparation for the lunch and dinner crowd. They maximize the use of the stone hearth oven by preparing made-to-order breakfast casseroles, cedar plank salmon, steaks, pizzas, bubbly pasta dishes, roasted vegetables, and, of course, decadent desserts. Residents are always welcome in the dining room to watch and chat with the chef as he works. Features of an exhibition kitchen may include not only just the pizza oven, but 36-inch high work counters I think are important so that you can see what the chef's hands are doing. Quite often in an exhibition kitchen you'll see from the shoulders up on the chef, but you don't see the colorful food and the slicing and dicing and the building of your menu items. The front counter in this exhibition kitchen has a drop-in cold pan for displaying colorful fresh ingredients or decorative crocks of salads. Induction griddles, panini grills, or induction cooktops can be added, but please note that these items may require a hood with fire suppression. This kitchen also has a lot of support refrigeration, all tucked under the counter so it's out of sight, so the focus stays on the chef and not on the commercial equipment. A hand sink and a utility sink are included for good sanitation practices, and additional small countertop equipment such as toasters and waffle bakers are useful as well. What better way to create memorable moments than watching a chef work his or her magic with colorful, fresh ingredients? At this time, Shellee will share some equipment solutions for bringing display cooking into the dining room on a smaller scale.
Yes, you can also create that exhibition kitchen experience in a smaller footprint with the action stations that many of you are probably familiar with. We see a lot of omelet stations and pasta bars as great options for menu items for this application. So in addition to creating that fun theater experience, you're also offering choice in the sauce for your pasta bar and the ingredients for your omelet station. Another idea for display cooking is small plates. I worked with a senior living chef who wanted to create small plate tastings in the afternoon for their afternoon snack instead of the typical snacks that you have out of a bag. You can see in this picture that the burner is an induction drop-in, which we recommend because they're not only safer around the residents, but also they're 90% efficient. So that means that they're going to emit less heat into your dining room. Also in this picture, you'll see the fresh greens and fresh ingredients are in a gel-filled pan. And these are great options for keeping your cold product cold and eliminating the ice. It's a double wall pan that has gel in between the walls that freezes and then will keep your food cold for 6 to 8 hours. Tina will actually share more information about these solutions at the end of our presentation. I like sharing this example because even the action stations will cost a few grand, and we know that budgets are usually tight. So a less expensive way to build your action station is to take one of your existing carts, even an old busing cart as you see here, and purchase some custom table skirting with clips. This is that same skirting that you'd use on a buffet table. Although the carts are small, you can use a couple together, and remember you have the shelves below to store the plates and the utensils and extra ingredients. If I were setting this up for service, I'd have one cart for the omelet station, and that would include, in addition to the induction, you would want your gel-filled pans to keep your ingredients cold, and then the second cart could be the waffle station that would display the optional toppings such as berries, whipped cream, and syrups. As you're creating these display cooking stations, one roadblock that you may come up against, as Jan mentioned, is that the local codes require ventilation, or at least many of them will. There are a couple of options on the market that will meet those codes. And when I say meet those codes, I do mean most of those codes. Again, we always recommend that you check with your local fire inspector. The first image on the left shows an action station that has a built-in ventilation system. So this unit has one induction hub that's a 120 volt, so it'll plug in anywhere. And below there are the shelves for storage. And these stations are very customizable from the top to the shelving to the front and what that front look is even. You can create a look that even has your logo. The other solution on the right is a portable ventilation hood that does have an optional ANSEL system. We're not showing it here, but this ANSEL system would include piping that would hang from the top of the unit. The system would need to be filled, though, and serviced by your local ANSEL provider. We do recommend the ANSEL system if you're cooking grease-laden products such as bacon and other meats. Again, we've seen this in many locations, including Las Vegas, but again, still check with your local inspector. And Tina will actually share more information on this product as well at the end of our presentation. Another longer-standing trend is the serving kitchen, which have evolved over the years, especially in our new construction designs, which Jan will talk about.
Serving kitchens bring meal plating and serving into the dining room to promote resident choice, mealtime queuing, engagement, especially in memory care, long-term care, and assisted living dining rooms. In new designs, the commercial equipment that we have to have but nobody wants to see is integrated seamlessly into residential-style cabinetry to create a familiar home-like environment for the residents and efficient operations for the staff. The image on the top left is one of 3 memory care serving kitchens at the Cottages of Cedar Run in West Bend, Wisconsin. Each serving kitchen serves 2 households or 20 residents and is flanked on each side by the dining room and living room for each household. This creates a comfortable and familiar great room style setting. The image below on the left is one of the memory care great rooms at Elan of West Point. This is another nice example that demonstrates the physical connection between the spaces, providing a great line of sight for staff members to stay visually connected with residents as they move throughout the great room. Both kitchens were designed to minimize the views of the commercial equipment. To do this, we placed most of the equipment under the counter and into a small pantry located right behind the kitchens. The counters on each side of the kitchen in the top photo are used primarily for activity time, where the round counter in the image below provides an intimate spot to have a cup of coffee and visit with a friend. Both of these counters are also great spots for a resident dining on their own to sit while they enjoy their meal on their own schedule. A typical equipment package that we specify for serving kitchens in new projects or renovations could include any of the following: hot and cold wells dropped into the counter, and in the image on the right, those hot wells are dropped into the island. Commercial refrigeration, which can be in the island or under the back counter. Beverage equipment, it's commercial, it's not pretty, it doesn't look like home, so we tuck that back into the pantry, and then the operators and staff bring out coffee and juice in decanters and air pots. Ice and water dispensers can be located back in the pantry if they're big commercial units, or in this case, we found a small ice maker and water dispenser that we could tuck under the front portion of the island. An induction cooktop is often requested for limited cooking, for instance, eggs to order or breakfasts or toasting a sandwich. We're seeing more and more request and demand for hoods in serving kitchen settings. I think as more chefs get into the industry, they have a desire to do that cook-to-order, on-demand, fresh food delivery to the residents. The one thing that we do have to caution about is it's a lot of coordination, whether it's building in a hood or using one of the countertop models that Shellee just presented. I think it's a great idea, but it needs to be vetted out thoroughly with your life safety code official. Up next, Shellee has some mobile solutions for bringing serving closer to the residents.
It is possible to create a serving kitchen style of dining in your existing dining rooms with limited space. As you can see in the top image, this serving kitchen is simply a small lineup of equipment and cabinetry along the back wall. This example shows coffee and beverage service on the left. The small under-counter ice machine is a great space saver since it also serves as the stand for the beverage dispenser. And the refrigeration unit that we recommend is going to be a commercial unit that is split with refrigerator and freezer space. We recommend the commercial because it supports the proper temperature, since that door is going to be opening and closing a lot more than in a typical residential application. To the right of the refrigerator, you see a buffet table that can be pulled out during dining service. The bottom image is actually a close-up then of this unit. On the back side of the unit, we have shelves for storage. You can also include heated drawers for warming plates and warming rolls. These stations are fully customizable from, again, the laminate all the way to the drop-ins. As you see in the bottom image, this unit has a drop-down leaf that can be flipped up during service for additional space. The leaf also has a cutout. You see the black cutout in it so that you can pull the cord through and it can be plugged into the optional outlet, which is great for toasters or other light equipment. The panels on this unit will pop off and then they can be replaced if they get damaged. Other great ways to bring the food closer to the residents is through compact buffet-type carts. This particular unit is low profile so that the residents can see their menu options, and the cart is very insulated, so it keeps the food hot for up to 40 minutes. Again, this allows for resident choice, staff, and resident interaction, and also it allows for the aroma to loft through the air and enhance that dining experience. Again, this is one of our featured products that Tina will share more information on at the end of the webinar. If you don't have space for large meal service carts in your dining room, perhaps you can supplement your dining program with a mini salad bar or dessert bar on a cart. The salad cart on the far left shows the salad in a large bowl. However, to save time, I've also seen salads pre-portioned and on the table. Then the cart would be loaded with the various toppings and dressings for the resident to select, which still then creates that resident engagement and it offers resident choice without having a large salad bar that may not fit in your dining room. On the far right, you see a dessert cart. I'm sure we can all remember a time when we were out to eat and didn't think you had any more room for dessert. However, when the tray of dessert options came out to the table, it was much harder to turn down that carrot cake with a thick cream cheese frosting or a piece of cheesecake with strawberries and chocolate drizzle. Again, these are just some simple options that can really help spice up your dining program and offer resident choice. Lastly, I wanted to share this image of a small tabletop buffet, which can be incorporated into any dining program for, say, a special event, Mother's Day, or Sunday brunches. They keep your dining program fresh by changing up the dining experience. And the tabletop buffets, really, they don't require much space, fairly low cost in terms of equipment. As you see here, there are a variety of dispensers and display equipment that can be really used throughout the day in various meals, whether it's breakfast or lunch. So adding various, I also want to point out the different elevations, not only the different elevations, but the color. And this is really important to create interest and attractiveness. Also, by going up instead of across with your display bowls, you create more efficiencies in terms of space. With that, Jan and I will wrap up our presentation. We do hope that we shared some creative solutions and have inspired you to create memorable experiences for your residents.
Thank you, Jan and Shellee, for that valuable information. Now we'll take some time to answer some of your questions. If you haven't already submitted them, please feel free to do so now. For anyone who's interested in learning more about some of the products that were mentioned in the webinar, please be sure to stay on the line, as we'll be joined by Tina Burns after the Q&A. All right, so we have one question for us. Are there other emerging trends out there currently?
This is Jan. I'll take this one. I think there's a couple things that I'm seeing right around the corner, and the first one is inviting celebrity chefs that are local from restaurants in your area to come in and use your exhibition kitchen or your action station to do a food demo to prepare their signature dish, and just really bring some entertainment and value to the residents.
Yeah, and just to tack on to that, this is Shellee. You can also hopefully tap into if you have any local culinary schools so they can come and they can do some contests or really create some engagement for the residents.
Another trend that I see looming on the horizon is food trucks. And I think there's such a variety of food trucks in so many communities right now. And to be able to bring one to your senior living community for a special event, or once a week, maybe lunch is food truck day, which is a great opportunity for residents to explore different ethnic menu items, also to get your staff out there for a different dining opportunity for them as well.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other questions? Give it a little bit more time here. All right, we have one. What is the difference between residential and commercial induction? Jan or Shellee?
I can take it. This is Shellee. The difference is, number one, it's going to be FCC rated so that it won't interfere with any of the medical equipment. You also have a thicker plate, that glass plate. The residential, you maybe have even experienced they can break. However, the commercial are going to be extremely thick and durable. Also, that coil. When I mentioned that induction is 90% efficient, it really depends on the induction unit because sometimes you have a smaller coil under there and you're not really heating the entire pan. So as you go up in cost and quality, you will have better results by having a better coil in the unit as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Shellee. We'll wrap this up then for today. Now we have Tina Burns from Direct Supply here on the line. Tina has been with Direct Supply for over 14 years, contributing in various roles within sales and product management. As a product consultant, Tina works closely with senior living corporations and independent communities nationwide. She educates customers through presentations and webinars on the latest trends in kitchen and dining, as well as ways to improve service, increase operational efficiency, and decrease costs. Please welcome Tina.
Thank you, Natalie. I wanted to go over some of the products that Jan and Shellee discussed today. And first, we're going to talk about the Rapid Cook Oven. The Rapid Cook Oven is also known as the Accelerated Cooking Oven, for those of you who are familiar. And this product, it's ideal to cook food to order and also, as Jan mentioned, a great addition to bistros, cafes, and room service operation. These units, as you can see by the slide, come in a variety of sizes. And if they look a little bit familiar, it's because Subway and Starbucks both use a version of this oven. The benefit of rapid cook ovens is that they reduce cook times, optimize space, and increase productivity. And best of all, because they have a catalytic converter, no hood is needed. Now, to give you an idea of the cook times for different products in these units, you could toast a sub in 20 minutes, bake chocolate chip cookies in about 1.5 minutes, roast a chicken breast in about 6 minutes, or cook French fries in less than 2.5 minutes. And for those of you who have rehab units within your buildings, I'm sure that you have found that often a resident in for a hip replacement doesn't necessarily want to eat with the general skilled nursing population and may not want what is being served when it's being served. The Rapid Cook Oven offers the solution because you're able to cook meals to order with the same quality throughout the day or evening. Because we all know that the person who's working at night is not usually your most tenured or highly skilled person. This unit is simple to use and delivers restaurant quality results. The next product I'm going to discuss is the COLDMASTER pan. The COLDMASTER product line is a great option for keeping food cold. Constructed of high-impact plastic and insulated with a non-toxic refrigerated gel, one overnight charge in the freezer will keep food cold. The units come as standard pans, designer pans, or as cool check pans. The standard pans will hold food at or below 40 degrees for 6 to 8 hours, while the designer pans, which are great for salad bars, buffet, and tabletop, will hold temperature for up to 4 hours. The COLDMASTER Cool Check, which is shown on the right, has a color-changing technology that provides a visual indicator to your staff for an added element of food safety. The main benefit of all COLDMASTER pans is that it eliminates the need to deal with dripping contaminated water that's generated when you use ice. And in addition to being used in the dining room, I actually had a customer who was in for the dining council meeting who mentioned that those would be a great option to use for MedPass. Now, all COLDMASTER pans are FDA approved, NSF listed, and dishwasher safe. Now, both Shellee and Jan mentioned the EquipX hood in their presentation a little bit earlier. Now, the EquipX portable ventless hood gives you the option to do display cooking in areas without a fixed hood. And there are two different options. The one shown is great for toasters, panini grills, and griddles. And they have another option that works for front door opening products like pizza ovens, microwave ovens, and small countertop convection ovens. Both units operate using a standard 120-volt plug and have a platform that will hold equipment up to 150 pounds. The filtering system in the EquipX units consists of 3 filters: a washable grease filter, a disposable particulate filter, and a disposable activated charcoal smoke filter. Like a standard hood, the units come with a grease trough. These units are great for cafes, bistros, and display cooking. The EquipX units are designed primarily for Type 2 cooking, which is cooking that creates heat and steam. If you are interested in cooking proteins, which is Type 1 cooking, that would create grease-laden vapors, there is an option, as Shellee mentioned earlier, to add the Ansel ports. We recently introduced to our Direct Supply family of carts some dining cart options. There are options for 4 different styles: the 3-tier cart with the drop leaf, the 3-shelf oval dining cart, which is available in 2 sizes, the Direct Supply beverage cart with the drop leaf, which is in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and a smaller version of the beverage cart without the drop leaf and the doors. You're probably familiar with using thermolaminate finish on resident room furniture. By using this finish on the carts, it makes them resistant to scratches, moisture, chipping, and peeling, which means that in addition in addition to being easy to clean and maintain, these carts look like furniture and are a great solution for many of your dining needs. Some of the ways these carts could be used would be for continental breakfast, beverage service, or as a snack or dessert cart. These carts come in 3 great finish options and are fully customizable. The last piece of equipment that we're going to talk about is less equipment and really a system solution, and it's called the Suzy Q cart. This cart offers a unique solution and was created by registered dietitian Suzanne Queering. The Suzy Q cart is fully insulated and is made to be plugged in the kitchen prior to service. Once you're ready to serve the meal, the cart is unplugged and will hold temperature as it is moved throughout the dining room. What you'll notice is that the cart is at table height. This is important because it gives residents the ability to see and smell food before making their selections. The staff member rolls the cart to the table and offers the selections to the resident. Due to the personal nature of how the food is served, residents experience direct contact with the dietary staff. This not only increases engagement, but allows for immediate feedback on the acceptance of the food. The dining staff is engaging with the resident at a much higher level than if they were just placing a tray in front of them. Because the resident has an opportunity to choose what they would like to eat, they will eat more. Think of all the times that you've brought a tray to the table and the resident doesn't want what they selected because what someone else next to them has looks better. We've all experienced food envy. Or maybe they forgot what they put on their meal card. As an operator, you benefit because the resident is seeing the food before it's served. So they are not only taking the food that they want, which will decrease your food waste and your need to serve supplements. The Suzy Q cart, as shown, serves 20 to 40 residents. It comes with 2 drawers with the option of making one of those drawers a heated drawer. The mini Suzy Q cart, shown in the upper right, has 4 tray slots that will accommodate 15 by 20 trays and will serve up to 20 residents. The most important thing about this cart system is the level of training support. Suzanne Queering is very engaged in the training process. So in addition to the training manual and webinar, she is available via email and phone support to help ensure smooth implementation. Well, this concludes the product portion of the presentation. Does anyone have any questions about the products that were presented?
We have a question. It looks like, have you seen the Suzy Q used for resident room service, room to room? Obviously, items would need to be covered.
This is Shellee, and actually I can answer that. I haven't seen specifically the Suzy Q, but I have seen other carts in the hallways. Again, you want to check with your local health inspector because the food would need to be covered, and in most cases I might shy away from it. But again, I've seen it successfully done with some other Suzy Q type carts. And we are getting an email too that others have seen the Suzy Q go room to room, and there are some flip lids that can go on the cart, so then the food is covered. But even doing that, I again would encourage you to talk with your local health inspector first.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions out there? We have one. Was this presentation recorded, and can it be viewed at a later date? Yes, we are recording this currently, and we'll be posting it actually out on our Direct Supply webinar site, which is listed on the screen right now, www.directsupply.com/webinars. We do also, if you have any other questions about our Dining Executive Council, which is what this webinar was presented and hosted by, You can visit that site at www.directsupply.com/events/DEC. Thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to hoping that you join us for future webinars.